Hi, I'm Nina. I'm a junior studying mathematics and gender and sexuality studies, pronouns she, her.
And I am one of 4 organizing committee members on the NYU YDSA.
I'm Zach. I'm a senior in CAS studying comparative literature. He, him pronouns. And
I'm on the organizing committee of NYU YDSA.
I'm Jeremy, he, him, graduate student in sociology, and I
was one of the founding members of NYU's Young Democratic Socialists chapter.
My name is Dan, he, him, I'm a German master's student, and
now you're on the OC, right?
Yeah. I got up early enough to get a haircut at 8:30.
Under capitalism, of course, because few people own all of the productive assets, the means of production, the majority of the population has to work for these individuals. And due to kind of other fundamental dynamics, this creates huge stratification in wealth, a huge difference in power. I mean, you can see how this would arise sort of naturally if a limited number of individuals have unilateral control over the productive assets of a given society.
That's a real marker of capitalism. It's kind of abundances of wealth, but with these deep pockets of poverty everywhere. And that's just something that capitalism will never be able to address just by the nature of what it is. I was initially drawn to socialism because I just felt like charities just couldn't do the work of actually addressing this inequality. It was structural, it's structural to capitalism. So the only way out was socialism.
I believe in democracy, and I don't think that runaway capitalist societies produce democracies. I think they produce more or less oligarchies, and I think that's what we're living in. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to feel so little participation, control, possibility of steering the course of the society for, people like myself who weren't born to great riches. The system is in such disarray. I mean, everyone recognizes that the system isn't working. Republicans, Democrats, and ordinary people.
People are getting left behind by both mainstream parties, and the Democrats have utterly failed working class people in this country. A party shouldn't just be something that you round up every 4 years to get the votes, goodbye, go home. We're not actually gonna hear your voice in the platform that we actually implement. It should be something that is ongoing, active. I think DSA is doing something really different in that way. We are an organization with elections. We have a national structure and a youth counterpart. There's something super organized about it that really pulls to me.
The fight for a truly democratic society, to me, that's part of this, the essential definition of socialism.
Socialism would be where the means of production are owned collectively by the entire population. So the kind of exploitive relationship that emerges out of wage labor, where individuals are forced to find someone to work for, and this person wields a significant amount of power over them, that would be ameliorated.
Humans should have a say over the direction of their future. What we're meant to do is kind of freely determine the course of our individual lives and our common life together. And a world of less toil, a world where we can have other values besides work and profit that guide our lives. Those kinds of things are a lot about what democratic socialism stands for, and that's a struggle worth fighting for.
And there's this kind of issue of structural power too, which is the fact that once working people are less tied to their jobs because of things like employer-mandated healthcare, if everyone's guaranteed healthcare, housing, these basic needs, then people will be more able and more willing to risk their time and their livelihoods for fighting for more of these things. Building off of these shorter-term kind of reforms like Medicare for All is, I think, the first step in building a mass-based movement that has roots in the working class.
We decided very early on, last semester, when I joined, that Medicare for All was going to be our main campaign. We were taking after the national DSA, and in fact, with some Lower Manhattan people, particularly Ashley Lewis, we've been leading this Medicare for All campaign.
In terms of Medicare for All, what we've been doing specifically is canvassing mostly, trying to make people aware of the New York Health Act.
Which is basically a single-payer bill in New York State. It would be pretty much almost full coverage for every resident of New York State.
I think the canvassing has been the most successful part of our Medicare for All campaign. Part of what we want is to collect healthcare horror stories, right? And people are more than happy to give those. So it helps our campaign in that way.
A friend of mine once said that her, when she grew up, her healthcare plan was the don't get sick plan because the family couldn't afford to see a doctor.
I met this woman who evidently spends $4,800 in a month for her epilepsy medicine.
There's 44 million people in the country who are currently uninsured with healthcare. Healthcare, I think, is the highest cause of bankruptcies in the US, and many of those people are insured, the majority actually.
It is a moral scandal that the family you happen to be born in decides the kind of health you will have in your life.
I don't think we should produce or live in a society where the basic means of survival are in question. I mean, what kind of place is that? I wouldn't feel good living in one like that.
This is a democracy. This is what Americans want, and I'm proud to be part of the DSA and its efforts to move this forward.
It's just a great feeling that we're all very morally committed to something really strong that I feel like a lot of us think we've more or less devoted our lives to it. And yeah, it's really changed my life a lot. It's most of what I do these days.
There's just so many reasons why it makes more sense. And there's also a moral commitment that I feel like I'm making.
The only way to, I think, achieve a just society, if we're being totally honest about it, is to change the actual structure of society itself. That's a long-term goal. Right now we just want healthcare.
But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving mid the wonders we have made, but the union makes us strong.